we actually introduce the show, I check in with the Facebook page and the DammitJim podcast. Let's see here. I see if it's rolling.
So is this an event?
Sorta.
Like, can I check in?
Yeah, you can go live now if you have your computer.
No, I want to go live, but can I check in to like whatever your deal is?
Yeah, just
on Facebook or something. I thought we weren't doing Facebook, Jim.
No, we're not. We're not live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube right now.
Okay.
So you can go live on YouTube. So we are
That's
actually the show's underway.
Oh, we don't even have the. So did you get pulled off last? So we definitely got pulled off last time for
playing
KJZ.
Too much KZZZ. Yeah. So the thing is,
fuck those guys.
You just load some music. We'll play a little bit of it, and as long as you don't play too much, then I can get around it. So we're fine. But if you play too much,
fascist.
Then
God damn it! Everybody got greedy sons of bitches.
So we're live on.
So
YouTube.
let's just,
ladies and gentlemen, you're catching the early. The pre-show. We'd like to do a little pre-show.
Let's give
behind the scenes, where Sideshow.
Let's give a quick little shout out to those poor sons of bitches in Houston.
Yeah, let's give a big shout out to that. I got my good friend Rebecca, who's last I saw, she had her children were in a closet because they had some tornado concerns. And I just realized.
Just realized what?
I had to turn on the compression for Eric's microphone, or our guest that we haven't introduced yet.
Yeah, so, sorry, everybody. Yeah, so don't worry.
So start the music.
Global warming, climate change is all a farce. It's all right. Don't worry. God's intending this to happen. Everything's going to be fine.
It's natural that these things are going on.
I turn the music is on, so the music's on my end. There we go.
All right. So if that's the case, why don't you go with the intro, Sideshow? Let's get this thing on the road.
Okay. Live deep in the avenues, it's the DammitJim Show. I'm your distractor and Steve Sideshow Todd, and we have got a jam-packed show for you today. We got an in-studio guest, and we'll get to who's going to talk about our main topic, the carnage in Phoenix that happened on Tuesday. We're going to touch about a little bit on Charlottesville and the fake news versus reality for a nice little NPR interview, and then we're going to talk about the two fat-headed fucks, which I mean Pyro and our current so-called president.
The orange balloon.
Yes. And we're doing a little science, of course, and this is a little bit more science fiction-y. We talk about the bad alien movie I just watched, Covenant, and the bad science involved in that.
Excellent.
Yes. And, of course, we'll probably do a little Chicago sports. So, James, let's just get right into it. On your brain today, since we had to fill in for you, because James is feeling under the weather, so we're providing him some support.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah. I'm coming in.
I think he's coming around. I think he's just being a giant pussy. So we're straightening him out here.
Yeah, thanks for powering through.
Yeah.
And
that's Eric, by the way.
Before we go into the topics, let's introduce our in-studio guest. Eric, tell us a little about yourself. Where you're from, what would you like to
do? You don't have to say anything. Don't listen to him.
From Phoenix, and happy to be here.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, Eric is a true Phoenician. He's been living downtown since before it was cool with the hipsters. Back when did you be back down there? 2000-ish?
2000-ish.
When you had it was you and your 357, pretty much, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, excellent.
So Eric's a long-time downtown Phoenix resident. We got him on specifically to talk about the events on Tuesday because he was down there.
He was down there, yeah.
Yes. Oh, we're going to talk about gentrification, too, of Phoenix. So that's the other reason Eric's on. So that's going to be in our current event garbage. So, yeah. So stay tuned for all that fun stuff. So,
Sideshow, why don't you just hit me with the bullet points of what we're going to hit first? Because
we're going to we're going right into the fucking streets of Phoenix, man. I mean, what happened down there and let's talk about it first of all from the speech itself. The obvious grandstanding, the complete lack of any fact, how he's saying, literally purposely omitting his key, statements he said that pretty much out him as a blatant racist.
Right.
Right. And then turning around and saying it was the news outlets across the country who were producing the fake news.
Right. Yeah. He's always pressing that button. It's all fake news. We hear that all the time. But there's a serious issue I think that got the country really up in arms, and that was the false equivalency of Nazis and the Antifa and the protesters, and
Right.
sort of saying the whole,
Which is what he was apologizing for.
he's
Or he was railing that he said nothing wrong.
right. He was
Right.
he was when everybody in the country practically, even of his own party, which I think is really critical, stepped up and said, "No, man, listen, Nazis. This is a group of people that has a history of I don't know, killing 5-6 million people." Before we even get to the war casualties, we're talking about just people they picked off the street because of the way that they looked or the
Not just Jews. That's what people miss. It was
Not just
gays.
Jews, it was gays,
people they call gypsies.
gypsies.
Who the fuck are gypsies?
cripples.
Yeah, cripples.
If you weren't physically
Yeah.
capable, you were killed because you obviously. Well, I shouldn't say obviously, because whatever in their fucking head said that, hey,
Yeah.
that guy's that's someone we can kill too.
It just gives you a full
Women,
blank check
children.
to add to that list. Yeah.
They systematically discriminate. I mean, so listen, if you're going to stand up and say that we're Nazis, there was a great thing I talked to a buddy about mine, and about free speech and at what point is speech no longer protected, and it's hard with the Nazis, but not exactly, because his definition of when your free speech gets suspended is when you take up arms against the United States of America. And the Nazis, I mean, there was a great meme of the Marines hitting the beaches at Normandy and saying the original Antifa, the original anti-fascists. Right? We fought a war against these. The whole world decided these people
that
were
this
so
ideology was corrupt.
Yeah,
at a massive scale.
Hundreds of thousands of Americans died to stop these
millions,
people.
My friend, millions. Yes.
Of soldiers, but the number of people, we don't even worry about what the numbers are. They're just huge. But the point of the matter is that he said the same thing about the Confederates. People want to talk about the Confederacy, and he's like, wait, you mean you're talking about people that took up arms against the United States of America? That's treason by definition. We also
to uphold slavery of a whole entire sect of society.
And now you got people trying to rewrite history, saying, "Oh, well, the Civil War wasn't about slavery."
Oh, bullshit!
It was in the first tenet of their Constitution. It was the first line. It doesn't matter. There's absolutely no question that war was about slavery. States' rights, sure, to have slavery. Let's not rewrite the history. I love that Trey Crowder called these Confederate statues, participation trophies. I think he's into the modern.
Well, it's one
times.
thing to commemorate and another thing to honor. Like, commemorate a battle, right? Mm-hmm. But when you have a statue of Robert E. Lee in the center of your town square and you don't have one of Abraham Lincoln, I mean,
what does that say?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not honoring,
and the fact that most of these statues were erected in the Jim Crow South.
Yes.
Let me give you just a
There's
little
no
bit
Ulysses S. fucking Grant in the center of Atlanta. Where's the General Sherman?
There's some facts that need to be talked about in the South that need, when people wonder why we get upset about these trophies, and I think there's some basic facts you can talk about. Like, first of all, the University of Mississippi did not graduate a black person until 1963.
Are you sure it wasn't like till last week?
Well, in the scheme of things,
I'm guessing. I knew a chick that went there.
I think 100 years after the emancipation population, before one black person was able to graduate that
the
university.
only guys on the football team.
There was another thing that people don't remember very much. If you go back into your history of, you always claim to being old, but old people remember things that are important. Like in the state of Alabama,
allegedly.
State of Alabama, which has a very large black population by percentage, much larger than most of the country, didn't have a single black person who worked for the state troopers. Not a single black person.
Well, then how are you going to keep them down if you give them a gun, Jim?
Once the basically government stepped in with affirmative action, said you absolutely have got to start representing the society more. So they hired black people.
You know what they call that? They call that the New South.
The New South.
They even find a way to demean that.
Right, exactly, because now you're upsetting the order of things. Yep. People want to be the way. But it was until 1985 before the first black person that worked for the state troopers ever got beyond an entry-level position. So not a single black person in the entire state of Alabama was ever qualified to work for the state troopers, much less able to advance beyond an entry-level position.
Right, a trooper probably. Yeah.
So, these are all things that are true. I mean, the South and the Jim Crow laws, and then the fights that went on. I remember like, you talk about protests. Look back in the 60s, protests.
You just hate your race. It's your problem.
White people are kind of a pain in the ass.
You're just...
But the thing about it is, it isn't about them being white. It's about them being powerful and rich. Because, again, I'll always say, it comes back to economic opportunity is what dictates almost everything else. Because I don't think, if you switch roles and all the black people are in charge and all the white people have the role of the black people, I don't think anything changes. I don't think that somehow
Right.
white people are inherently more evil than black people or inherently better than black people. I think they're just people. And when you change the
Well,
circumstance,
that's the big thing that they're missing from their equation on their worldview.
right, because
People
they
are
don't,
just people. That there's some major.
well, there was a long
Yeah.
time when people legitimately argued that the black race was inferior to the white race.
They had
And
smaller
They
brains.
they use all kinds of scientific,
Junk
basically
science. Yes.
Basically where they backward engineer it. And listen, I need to prove that black people are inferior to white people. So let's find some data that supports that and makes my worldview, to be the right one. And they did it, and it happened for a long, long time. And it's so recently that we're past this, that we're not past it. We're just
No.
past it kind of at the surface level.
Well, now there's a fucking guy. He should be wearing a hood. He's in charge of the goddamn country, right? And let's bring it back into the parlances of our local politics,
Right.
Right. I mean, obviously this led to. He comes to this state where we have all these border issues, raising this bloody flag that the brown people are taking over. But Jesus, that's not even remotely the case in the state.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even have a border issue here. Like, nobody's coming over the fucking border anymore. Like, illegal immigration has gone down to almost nil.
Right. That's the whole thing, is where the facts of the situation, people are so removed from it, they don't actually know any immigrants. They don't have any firsthand knowledge of it. So they're relying on what these politicians and what these newscasters are constantly feeding into their mind and getting them all.
Even though they've never been in the state of Arizona in their lives.
Yeah, that they certainly have an opinion. And now we're looking at situations that everybody predicted. You've got all kinds of problems in agriculture, that things aren't getting picked. There's not enough staff to do this work, because we've had a broken immigration system for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
Which basically said, you know what, it's easier for us if you just sneak over and we hire you that way than try to go through the legal system, because the immigration system is so screwed up.
And they don't want to pay them a living wage, and that's how they beat that's how they beat Chinese labor. Or that's how our agriculture business stays in business. They can't find anybody to pick the fucking peaches.
Right.
You know?
And the real problem I have with it is all of this, all of the folks that are talking in the news, people, they're going after the immigrants. Like they're going after the one person in this whole equation who probably has the least control over the situation, and saying, well, what about legal don't you understand? Well, what about this fact that this is a much more complicated situation that you don't understand? It's a bad system. They're stuck in the middle of it. Why are you picking on the poorest of the poor?
They never.
We all know
we talked about this before. They never bust Smithfield.
Right.
The meatpacking company that just, they literally send buses to Mexico City to bring fucking people back to work in the packing plants.
This has been going on for generations.
Yeah. And what do they do?
Yeah.
They bust the trailer parks across the street from the fucking factory. Mm-hmm. They don't go in and arrest anybody working for Smithfield.
No.
But they arrest these poor fuckers who were promised, a better life, a better wage, or bust here for free.
Or gambled on it.
By a corporation.
The situation was so bad.
Yeah. God damn it. Anyway, let's get back to it. Why we brought Eric on. Because Eric was actually down there on Tuesday. So let's get, a little bit closer to the streets of Phoenix, right? Because, there was a big, heavy police presence.
There was, for sure.
Right? Lay it on us, Eric.
So I decided to go down just because, I wasn't there to protest or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to enjoy the show. And so I hopped down there. And the first thing that did stick out is the huge police presence. A lot of barricades. Just about seemed like every cop in Phoenix was down there.
Yeah, and in armed, in full body armor, right? We're talking riot gear. We're talking chest plates, arm plates, helmets, face shields.
Full gear.
Yeah, full gear. And as well as having the rocket launchers with the fucking tear gas shots in them, right?
I did not see those until later on.
Yeah.
But yes, they were there. They were there, as evident by all the tear gas.
That was eventually sprayed into the crowd.
Yes.
And even the one gentleman catching it right in the sisters.
Yeah, they popped that dude right in the balls. I mean, he can't ever be right again.
Point, good shot.
I mean, that's got to rupture. Definitely something. Mm-hmm. That's horrifying.
For the most part, I noticed when I was down there, it's fairly peaceful, occasionally yelling, a lot of feedback from what Trump was saying.
Yeah, let's talk about, you talked to people on the street, didn't you?
A little bit.
Yeah, you asked a couple people, right?
Yeah, I talked to a couple people. Didn't really have any in-depth conversation. Just kind of looked at the signs and kind of either laughed or moved on. A lot of people there were there's three groups of people. The people there to protest, the people there to be seen, and kind of my group. The people there just wanted to see what was going on. For the most part, everyone seemed fairly happy, but I wasn't there till the very end.
Right.
I wish I would know exactly what point it turned violent. I didn't feel like it was violent up until that point.
Right. I don't know. It seemed like from the few people that I heard, there was the one guy, Gallega, the Democrat who's fairly active in the, stopping the anti-immigration thing. Mm-hmm. He was down there and he said, it just built up over the day because there were so many people down there. It was fucking hot as hell, right? And and we were talking about this earlier. In my opinion, when the cops come down there, looking like they're ready to invade fucking Iran, right? Mm-hmm. That in itself sets off an adversarial tone. Not that they should absolutely have been there, right? There's no doubt about a police presence was needed, right? To be armed to the teeth like that, ready, just at the drop of a hat to start bashing somebody's fucking skull in, that to me immediately sets off a time bomb. About at some point, someone. I mean, I would feel threatened if I had gone down there. I would have had no intention of doing anything violent, right? But I would have felt threatened, and then that creates a reaction inside of yourself because you get defensive, right? Mm-hmm. And that build over time, all day long, people that tension's there, that spark point. And if they just come in like dress blues that they wear every day, I'm not saying they shouldn't have a helmet. I get it, like they get hit in the head. I'm not saying they shouldn't have a helmet, but to have like that full on like they were in black jumpsuits and body armor.
Well, I think they were ready for the situation. See, this is where, we might differ a little bit because I think that the police being there and fully protected was absolutely a policy call and a strategy call, and I think it was a fine one considering the violence that has gone on in the past. They should be ready as long as they behave like the U.S. government.
But don't you
law
feel like
enforcement
they should
be there?
It sets a tone. I'm not saying they shouldn't be there. I'm just saying
I think it's
a regular dress. Their dress seats. Their dress blues. They're regular everyday shit.
Right, but what if things start to go down and then they're not prepared?
Well, they seem to be able to shoot plenty of people when they're wearing their normal stuff.
Well,
they don't seem to need body armor to bust a cap in somebody.
Or maybe they shoot more people when they're wearing normal stuff because they don't have the body armor to protect themselves.
They can still have the beanbag shotguns and all that crap.
I just don't. I think that having the police force there, as long as the police are behaving as the way the police that we want them to behave, which means that protesters are allowed to be there, let us say whatever they want. You don't let any of that stuff get in your grill about it. You don't start attacking them. As long as you make sure everyone knows, hey, you can protest, you can talk, you can chant, you can do whatever, but do not cross the line of violence.
Well, sure.
We've seen it cross. So now you know that if you do cross that line, the government is already there going to stop because that's where it stops being legal, right? That's where the legal right to protest ends is when you resort to violence. Now, sometimes violence is necessary. We know this from our own history. But you also have to understand that the government is going to protect itself. And those police officers who are in the front line dealing with it, who aren't allowed to engage, and as long as they don't engage and behave,
but don't they always do though? I mean, when they're out in that gear, in every situation, like whether it be like the G7 or whatever it is, or a little small city protest like this one, always ends the same fucking way.
Yeah, you can go to Kent State. You can go back to the '60s when they were hosing people down.
Yeah,
and my point is, as long as the police don't behave like that, they understand that their job is simply to protect the peace, and not be aggressive. Then they have every right to be as armed and as protected as they were. I don't have a problem with it as long as their behavior is.
Well, I don't think we're arguing about where the line stands as much as that to say that they didn't choose to wear that in in order not to intimidate was ridiculous. I mean, they definitely chose that stuff to intimidate. They definitely line up in line to intimidate. I mean.
But intimidate you.
But no one's talking. I mean, but no one's really arguing against what line it is, though. But it definitely sets a tone when you walk up to that.
It's not here that I'm just here to keep the peace. I'm here to say if anything the state disapproves of, I'm going to bash your fucking skull in and tape your arms together and take you to jail.
Yeah, I think that's where I would disagree in saying that if that is the message that's being sent or received, then you do have a problem.
Yeah,
even if they don't participate in it, if that is the message you receive, then I would agree that that's a problem.
Right.
Because you want people to say, listen, you can say the worst possible thing you can think of, and I'm not going to lay a finger on you until you actually physically cross the line and go into violence. Right. And then I'm going to stop it before it becomes worse. And we're going to win this. If there is a fight, we're going to make sure we win it because that's what we pay the government and the police forces to do, is to keep the peace. But the philosophy of keeping the peace, well, you don't want the cowboy attitude. You don't want to draw first and ask questions later kind of thing. And if you felt, as a person that was there, intimidated by it, then I would say, yeah, then there's definitely a problem with that policy.
Especially as somebody who was an outside observer. He didn't go there with an agenda, right? He wasn't there to make sure Donald Trump heard his view or to to stand in the face of the man. He just went down there to check it out.
You wanted to see what was going to go down.
Yeah, he's feeling that vibe.
Yeah, you want to observe democracy in action.
Right.
The American version that we're currently in, which is awesome. And so you're observing these things. You're observing this is the way the police look. This is the way the protesters look. So, I mean, I got a question, though. But what about, you go back to Charlottesville, where the Nazis, when they were protesting, the Nazis and the Confederates, with all of those horrible things, and they showed up with their own shields and guns, and they, even though they said they were doing a nonviolent march, they were armed to the teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were looking...
They were ready for a fight. They were wanted to
And
agitate.
so, if you were the town of Charlottesville, you would have probably said, well, we need to make sure that our law enforcement agency at least are protected enough that they've got the equipment that they need.
Oh, I would agree in that scenario. If they saw a group of people walking down with the cross helmets and hockey sticks and ready to throw down and pitchforks, that's one thing. But no one really had that.
Right.
I mean, obviously it ended up in some mischief, but. From
if you got all those people together, someone's going to try. Well, I didn't come all the way down here for no mischief. We got to start some trouble, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so that's going to happen to some degree, but I just wonder what is the right policy. Like if you were speaking to the head of police, what kind of
why don't we
police
try?
Would you send down?
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I feel that over time the our police force, even since I was a kid, have taken on more and more of a paramilitary type feel and look than was even ever acceptable, say, even in 1980. Right? They still wore collared shirts. They still had, they still looked like a professional person. Right? Now, granted, there was corruption and all that stuff that was well documented in the 80s. But you know what I mean? But at least from a look. Like now, every Phoenix police officer looks like a paramilitary officer, in my opinion. They're in jumpsuits. They're in combat boots. It doesn't look like they're there to serve my best interest. It looks like they're there.
Yeah, I think from the 10,000-foot view, it's easy to say, something's not right in society that the police have to. Why can't the police be the guy like you or I walking around with a badge on saying, I'm here I'm the peacekeeper and the officer,
right,
talking to the neighborhood, finding what's going on, knowing the people, being a part of the community. And then
that's the game they talk, but that's not at all their presence.
Right, but if that person, I mean, I don't know that the police anymore have that sort of interaction with the communities.
There's no rapport.
But I would also say, because I've got like my brother-in-law was a police officer, retired. One of my best friends from high school was a state trooper, and he just retired. I'll tell you that.
All your friends are retiring, huh?
It's funny what happens.
Sorry, continue on, sir.
One of these days, I'm going to take my cane and go right upside your head, motherfucker.
So all these cops are retiring. What are they going to tell you? What did they tell you?
Well, what I would tell you is that the level. They're so jaded, is what I would tell you.
Oh, because everybody's a bad guy?
Because they've dealt with the lower parts of society.
They chose that profession?
They chose that profession, but as they got into the profession...
They all thought they were going to be fucking John Wayne or Clint Eastwood.
Why do you assume what they would all think?
Because that's why they're all disappointed.
No, they're disappointed because they had to deal with people, and they sort of... A lot of the stereotypes that are out there became real to them. Because, listen, if you're dealing with 100 people a day, and you're starting to sniff out where the bad stuff's going to go down, it tends to go down with the same types of people that you as a cop can immediately identify. You learn that, you get that sixth sense about what's going on. When I was riding with my buddy Joe, and he's like, that guy's probably drunk, that guy's probably drunk. You can't tell driving. He goes, why? I can just tell. I can just tell by the way that they drive their car that there's not something right with them. And you guys won't realize that until you've seen 10 billion cars go by you while you're watching traffic. And the same thing with when you go into situations, be it domestic violence or whatever. But when they're constantly walking into situations that are so bad, they become very, very jaded about people,
Fair enough.
about citizens.
And they're seeing all the same thing over. Why are they so bad at handling those situations? Or at least it seems so.
Well,
they seem to deteriorate into gratuitous violence where they just don't necessarily need to do it.
I think because a lot of times they walk into people that challenge their authority and they get put into very.
You mean the
very
ones
bad
that are running
situations.
away and they shoot in the back?
I mean the ones that they don't shoot, and the guy reaches in his car and pulls out a weapon and shoots them. That happens to one.
I
of
mean,
their
I
guys.
get it. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a dangerous job. Absolutely, everyone agrees to that.
Yeah, it's a
But
dangerous
that's what you're
job.
signing up for. Like, I don't think anyone it doesn't realize that they have to wear a flak jacket to work every day.
Right.
Is expecting that every day is going to be a rosy outcome.
I just don't think that they truly appreciate what they're getting into when they get into it. And once they get into it, they tend to go down the same road and become jaded in the same way.
Right.
That's my experience with people
Fair
I
enough.
know. Not having been a cop myself, and none of us have, I think it's always good to talk to people that actually do it. So
I talked to them a lot, usually when I was a kid, but it was never in good situations. They were usually trying to incarcerate me or chase me down. Or never seemed to be a positive interaction.
Yeah.
And did it have anything to do with maybe what little Todd was up to?
Well, maybe, but there's one story, and then let's move on from the fucking cops, okay? But it just to illustrate a point of power, right? So we were just at this bar. It was a freshman bar, and weird shit went down on a regular basis. So some big brawl breaks out, yada yada. Then the bouncer throws a pepper bomb. Whole place clears out, right? Because everybody's hacking away on pepper spray, right? And then so this was in Charleston, Illinois, where I went to college, right? And the 5 or 6 Charleston police show up all at the same, and in riot gear. No shit. They got the wood batons. They got the fucking helmets on. There's no fight anymore, right? Because everybody's just trying to get away from the goddamn pepper spray, right? So this one kid, he gotten hit with a lot of it, and he falls out, stumbles out, and he falls to his knees right in front of one of the cops, right? And his glasses fly off, and he goes down and he's looking for his glasses, and he puts his hand out, and he's on his knees already because the cop's about to step on his glasses. So he puts his hand out, stop, and he's looking down, puts his hand out like this. So he's not even looking up at the cop. He just sees somebody coming and pushes his hand out so they don't step on his glasses. Guy fucking squares off, clocks him right in the goddamn forehead. Just in one movement, wham! Right? No fight going on, nothing to break up anymore. But these guys came to do something, right? To abuse their power and to show us college kids who the fuck was boss,
right?
So I mean, those have been my interactions, right? And that's where and I'm a white kid. This is all white kids out there, right? Those are not supposed to happen or whatever.
Just don't lose your glasses.
Yeah, right. Just don't get in their way is what I've always learned. Just stay the fuck away from them, because the outcome is never going to be good for you. Right. It's typically in dealing with the police, it's better not to. We learned that even we called them. Like, my mom had her purse stolen from the couch. We came and filled the police report. They practically laughed at us.
Yeah.
Practically laughed at us.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, get die. Fine. We'll. I mean, I just learned then you handle your street crime for yourself, because the cops aren't going to help you. There's not.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, so let's move the fuck on something so much happier. So we wanted to also go into one final take on Charlottesville, and just more so, you started to hear the drum beat almost immediately after Charlottesville of fake news, and the media not correctly reporting what actually went down, and then furthermore what the president had said. So what NPR did, they brought on the kid who actually took the video of the Dodge that killed that poor woman, right? And what had happened was, is InfoWars, a couple of other of those fringe, I consider them fringe, but they have, I guess, according to 250,000 people who watch this stuff on a daily basis, right? Pick up this story and saying that the whole thing was staged, essentially, right? That there was the car that didn't happen. It was fake footage. George Soros, the same thing that they always say about any type of narrative.
Paid off these guys
yes.
to do blah blah blah.
Yes.
Just upset our.
Yeah, Sean Hannity even picked it up, right? And some Texas congressman suggested, this is what they said, that what happened in Charlottesville wasn't what it was, and it was an attack, attack on neo-Nazis. So it was more of an attack on neo-Nazis versus it being them there stirring and killing that poor woman. Right. So they even try to twitch, so a narrative so obvious in an instant, caught on video, everyone in the country saw that car and what it did. Tried to spin that. But the actual news show, the CNN, the CNBC, who just showed that footage and showed it for what it was, that's the fake news. Right. They are somehow able to twist that narrative and say, no, what you actually saw isn't what you really saw.
Right.
But luckily for you, we're here to tell you what to see. And guess what? It's those goddamn niggers again. We're going to pick the person who you hate the most, and it's always their fault.
Yeah.
It's the Jews, it's the Soros, it's them. It's that nobody really killed that woman. And if so, and they were even saying that she deserved to die. I mean, that's fucked up.
Was that a question or just a speech?
No, I mean, I'm done on my
It was a
rant
good
for now.
speech.
That was
Yeah, I think it was a rant.
is
Yeah.
intense because it's disgusting that somehow that they are continually allowed. And the other thing is, our media, they tiptoe around that because they don't want to attack that narrative, and they should be, right? Mm-hmm. Because they have because they have an online such a big following, and there's the whole battle. But you literally showed what happened as it did. And that's what news is.
Right.
There's no commentary. You don't have to tell me how to think about it because you just show me what happened.
Right. Well, but by undermining the source of information, be it the mainstream news, mainstream media, be it New York Times, which is the paper of record, by going after their integrity, even without information or proof or facts, they now create the ability to say anything they want.
Right.
People are willing to wrap their head around it as long as they get the red meat from there.
Yeah.
It's funny to me the number of people that know what cognitive dissonance is now, because that was not a thing that most people knew what it was.
Right.
And now it's just such a common.
You're missing the mic quite a bit, by the way.
I'm missing the mic quite
turn
a bit.
Turn it more. There, turn it this way because you keep going this way. There.
Okay.
All right.
So the cognitive dissonance that we're missing, that people are now understanding, and it's going on everywhere. And this is what's scary is, even I got a good friend. I'm actually going to do a show about him and his Facebook posts, because it doesn't matter what the situation is, he always comes down on the same political side and posts all this stuff. And when I talk to him in person, great guy, and we actually agree on a lot of things, but I still don't understand is why is he referencing Alan West? Why is he referencing InfoWars? Why is he referencing Bible?
That's depressing.
Just stop reading that crap.
Yeah.
Because they have zero.
Yeah.
And people say, well, it might be true. Well, the thing that
Might be true?
You can't know because they have zero integrity in their reporting. None. Unlike the New York Times, unlike the Wall Street Journal, unlike, you may not agree with their political stance, but at least there's integrity to the way they go about gathering information and reporting things. And you have to have that. And so we got to get back to a place in this country where we say, hey, listen, you can not like the mainstream media, you may not like ABC, NBC, but you have to pick some news sources that are absolutely wholly committed to the process of journalism. Otherwise,
That's hard to find, though, today.
Yeah, if you don't believe in something, then you believe in nothing, kind of thing. And I don't care what Alex Jones says on InfoWars. I have zero. I don't understand why he gets listeners enough to get a job.
He came on with
We get
Megyn
2
Kelly
listeners.
and said he was pretty much full of shit.
Yeah, he's admitted it
admitted
openly.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm an entertainer, basically.
Yes.
Or he's gave himself a few-
Dangerous person, though.
He is.
All right, let's move on for that fucking shit.
It's perfect.
Eric, you got anything else on there?
You know what time of the show it is?
What?
It's pea bladder time.
Oh, Jesus.
My fans all know that. I forgot to go before we
All
started.
right.
And
Turn up the music then. Fuck you, YouTube.
music. All right.
Put some more KJZs on. Low Down Blues.
Eric,
5 Hours Blues every
why don't you
Sunday
come-
night.
Why don't you become the host for about like a minute and 30 seconds while I...
Oh, you know what we're gonna do? Change from politics for a minute.
Good.
We'll start
Let's
with
get
the
into something
gentrification
fun.
of Phoenix. Let's give this some more
Gentrification.
hate.
Let's talk about some
So this is
gentrification.
this is a full hate episode. So if you guys want anything happy going on, you can just go do something else. Okay? That's
be
just
happy
fuck
somewhere
you.
else.
Talk about why you shouldn't be upset why there's dead bodies in your alley.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, as we said earlier, Eric has been in Phoenix for 20 years almost. He moved down there when nobody in downtown corner neighborhood where nobody else would think about moving down there. And I've been down. I mean, I lived in different parts of the city, nowhere near where he did. But I've been in Phoenix for 15 years, right? Not like 12 years, but whatever. But something that we have definitely noticed is obviously people just like everywhere else in the country, people moving back into the city, right?
Yep.
And gentrification's undergone, and your neighborhood has gone a dramatic gentrification.
Yes, definitely in the last few years.
Yes, absolutely. In the last 3 years, it's like epic. The explosion of the real estate in your
Popping
neighborhood.
off.
Yes, but what have we? One thing we have noticed is what these people still think. Oh, let me turn down the fucking music. 'Cause clearly, we're continuing to roll.
I thought that was a good intro there.
It's pretty badass, though, right?
Yeah. It's kind of digging
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think we get one more bar for you two fucks with us. Bow, 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 go fucking blues. All right. So, the dramatic change in the nature of the people buying homes in your neighborhood.
Yes. Definitely dramatic change.
Because with the property, I mean, we're talking homes that in the $500,000 range.
Yes.
In your neighborhood.
Definitely. Totally different crowd.
Yeah, where you bought for like $90K.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Went from, people that just wanted to be close to the city center to everyone that wants to be, hip and cool.
Right. Right. Exactly. And we went to the latest place down on 7th Street. Me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's just a general, lack of understanding what it means to live in an urban area. Right. I grew up in Chicago. Like, there's certain things that you're just going to have to understand. Right. That there's going to be homeless people.
Yes.
There's going to be street people.
Yes.
Right. There's going to be crime.
Yes.
Right. You have to keep your head on a fucking swivel. Like, you can't just run around like you're in fucking downtown Chandler.
Agreed.
Right.
Yes.
And let's talk about the event that exemplifies this. So,
a couple of weeks ago, in the neighborhood, they found a dead body in one of the alleys.
Yeah.
And that, I'm not going to lie, that's a very horrible experience for anyone to have to walk up to. And I feel horrible for the family involved. There's no question of that. But there was this outcry of, why is our neighborhood so unsafe?
Right.
Can we shut down the alleys?
Shut down the alleys. Let's talk about what that means. Like, let's say, let people who do not have an alley, who haven't lived in a place where you do have an alley. It's a valuable thing.
It is, and I'll paint you a picture.
Yeah.
So, in the back of my property, I have a gate, and inside, I go through the gate, and there's a common dirt street in between me and the adjacent house, and back there is where we put all the trash.
Right.
Just large community trash cans. And, occasionally there'll be some ruckus. Might have an occasional homeless person walk through. Maybe once in a while someone will jump in there and dig through the trash and jump out.
Right.
Kind of all to be expected, though, living so close to downtown.
Yes. People I have an alley, too.
Yes.
And I have my Doberman patrol the alley. Because that's, in my opinion, a smart thing to do in the urban setting.
Exactly. And, no one has to tell you that because it is an urban setting.
Yes, that's right.
The problem is we just get these transplants from other parts of the valley.
And they want to fucking sanitize everything.
Right. Yes, exactly. They want to bring this
sterility from fucking the suburbs.
And it doesn't exist. It's too close to downtown.
That's not how the real works. There are fucking poor people. If you want to isolate yourself, right?
Yep.
Live in your fucking gated community in Tempe.
There's plenty of options for that.
Yeah.
There really is. Now, crime is horrible, but you have to be real in the fact that you live so close to downtown, it's just going to happen.
And quite honestly, I don't have any children, right? And I know, obviously, the whole mother hen, take care of your kids first. But at the same time, you can't raise societal cripples who can't handle, don't have the minimal street smarts.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yes.
I've seen Stand By Me. They all turned out fine.
Right? Exactly. They saw the dead body on the fucking train tracks, right?
Yes.
Come on. You can't create this completely sterile environment and expect your child to have the social skills they need to survive in the world we live in.
Right.
It's just impossible. It is a tough world.
It's healthy for a kid to have a goldfish to die.
Right? Something you need to fail to learn to succeed.
Exactly.
You do not learn the first time out of the gate. You need to taste that pain to push you farther. Michael Jordan didn't make his fucking varsity football or basketball team, right? What if they just gave him a fucking trophy? No. That failure made him stronger.
Yes.
Damn it. So go see the dead body, you fucking pussies.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Jesus Christ. It's So but it's we're definitely gonna get those shirts. Jim, you're gonna get one too. Go back to Chandler, because quite honestly, that's how I feel about it. You're fucking with our property value. It's getting a little out of control. Go back to Chandler. So that's another positive message for the evening.
Hey, while we're in transition, I just want to say that I didn't have it up on my screen, but Johnny Johnston had a couple things to say about the police.
Oh yeah,
presence, and he just wanted to let us know that I think the presence was a show of force that they were not going to put up with the shit that happened in other places. There was no show of force in Charlotte until it was too late.
Yeah,
Charlottesville law enforcement was not prepared. Phoenix law enforcement was.
Fair enough.
So based on the history, I'm just John had something to say, and I'm kind of on the same page with him about that. And
we're not saying that they shouldn't be there. That was never the question.
No, you didn't. But we had some nuances.
That's exactly right. There is a nuance, and that is what people miss.
To it, and we're like, I get it. And I think it's just a policy. How do they go about it?
Yeah, and, I would absolutely not have felt safe if the cops were not there.
Yeah,
they
Agreed.
absolutely
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, then something definitely could have gone down. But being, having the
but
the
we're
riot
talking
police
about
basically the front line as opposed to some other guys that could just
the progression to this paramilitary.
And maybe it's just one of those things where you don't know what you're walking into, so they just took the safest route possible. I mean, I don't want
excessive force is the norm. Let's just be honest about the way things are policed today. It's not they don't begin at
because
a place.
I think that so much of the things that happen in this country are political actions as opposed to realistic actions. Like you're saying with the the neighbors that are moving in from Chandler and want this, it becomes a political thing instead of an understanding of the neighborhood they're moving into.
It's like the emotional argument, which I've never really heard of until the last year. With the emotional argument, whereas you really have to have facts to base it up. You just however you feel, that's the truth.
Yeah. How you feel about something is more important than and we have had that because for a long time we were dealing with the perception is reality. Even though it's not reality, it doesn't matter because if we perceive it to be that way, then that's what we all believe. So that's what we have to deal with.
Reality is reality.
It is, but when you can change the perception of that reality, then you can change the politics, and then you can change the way the world works because perception becomes reality.
Are we all going to take acid now?
Well,
right? Here's the orange Kool-Aid, man.
What do you mean? You've been holding out?
Going deep. We're going deep. All right, what's next on the docket?
Well, let's go into, like I said, this is all just fucking, you're all going to have to deal with it. We're not dealing with any happy stuff this week, so just fucking hold on.
This is angry.
Yeah. So we're going to go right back into part 2 of what the fallout of Phoenix. Because this is absolutely critical to Maricopa County politics, and it's the pardoning of Joe Pryor. Okay, so that he hinted at it when at the rally. And I'll say, from a political, he was wise enough not to pardon him at that conference because if he had, then those cops would have had everything their hands full. Then
I think that protesters would have gone off.
Yeah, I would have agreed. Then it would have been a show.
It would have been insanity.
Yeah, that's throwing off
because it would have been twice as many people coming down there and they would have had an agenda.
Yeah, they would have had a reason to because they were looking for one, as you guys were saying. Everybody was kind of itching for a fight,
right?
Yeah,
and that would have been the spark.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, days later, because he's a pussy, he does it from his bully pulpit as he does everything, and he God, the tweet was so fucking depressing and just contrite and dickish, basically pardoning a fellow immigration warrior, right? Mm-hmm. And this is a guy. Let's just list off the top 3. Cost Maricopa County $67 million in lawsuits from being sued from either action they took on the streets or people dying in the fucking jail or the immigration. Mm-hmm. $67 million are tax dollars.
Right.
Like in a state 48th in the nation in schools. Mm-hmm. That money could have been used in very needy places.
Right.
Right? And the next one that gets glossed over quite a bit. The hundreds of sexual assault cases involving women and children that were never investigated on his watch when they were taken.
400 plus cases that he just...
Yeah, Mr. fucking hard case law guy doesn't do what's not glamorous.
Right.
Doesn't do what his full office is intended to do. Mm-hmm. Only what brought him fucking headlines, and he wasn't even authorized to do.
Yeah, he was a politician as a sheriff, that's for sure. We got that going.
Yeah, and then last but not least, the fucking gulag, the jails in Tent City, listed in Amnesty International is the worst prisons in the United States. Mm-hmm. People, and part of that $67 million, people dying unnecessarily, people not even convicted of a crime yet,
right? Being
held because they can't afford bond,
right?
They haven't even been convicted yet, dying, and he treats them as that is they are deserving of that treatment. They haven't even been. They more than likely, you don't get caught that you can't afford bail. It means you're poor. That means you're going to jail. So that's really what it comes down to.
Being poor has been illegal in this country for a long time.
Yeah, so if you can't get bail, you're just fucked anyway. But
right.
But in reality, you're supposed to not be, right? So just those things alone, and there's a litany of other graft and horrible shit this cocksucker did when he was in charge here, and just no none whatsoever acknowledging of those things.
Well, I think one of the things that the nation doesn't really understand because it hasn't been marketed through the media very well is that he terrorized an entire section of our community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Latinos, be them legal, illegal, which isn't even a term. Undocumented is the term because it's not illegal to be here without documented paper. It just means you're undocumented. It's not a crime.
Yes.
But the point is he terrorized communities so badly that
Against a federal writ.
well, the government got involved and said, "Hey, man, you can't do that. That's a violation because you're talking about citizens now that you're violating their rights because of the way they look." And he even said on camera, "I know an illegal when I see one." And people are kind of like, "Well, yeah, I do too." Why? Because they look a little brown and they talk a little too much Spanish for your taste, and so they must be illegal. Because but the thing is, stereotyping. Good chance they could be. But that's why we have a constitution. That's why we're different than all the other countries. And it scares the hell out of me when people celebrate things that are absolutely against the constitution that you claim to hold so dear. Don't tell me you love this country.
But those aren't citizens,
and you don't
Jim.
put Joe or Pio
They don't
in jail.
they don't get our protections.
Because they're the brown people?
Well, they're not citizens, Jim.
But they were citizens. That's the point.
Oh yeah, a couple of them were actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point.
Oh, never mind.
They were
Oops.
citizens.
Yeah, you're
they
right.
were
That's the
citizens
brown
that were
thing.
terrorized
Oh.
by this guy and his posse
Oh,
in an attempt to solve a
yes.
problem in the worst possible way to solve that problem.
That goddamn
Which is
right.
to simply treat, you're only treating one symptom, the one that's easy for you to go after,
Yeah.
which is the lowest people on the totem pole.
How many CEOs did he arrest in Phoenix?
None.
For hiring, how many? If he would have done that, if he said, "I'm going to go after the companies that hire these guys
Yeah.
and bring them to justice," because one employer could be, whatever.
Do you know what company he did shut down?
But even so-
that he should get beaten for longtime Phoenix residents? He shut down Chewy's. Did you ever go to Chewy's, Eric?
Oh, yeah. I did not go to Chewy's.
No, I love Chewy's. They had actually pretty good house margaritas. Did you get by the pitcher? Me and Big Dave got hammered there a couple of different times.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Well,
But anyway, so
Didn't Uncle Sam's also get a huge
Yeah, I
run
think
on
you're right.
immigration? Which is kind of ironic, right?
Oh yeah, they were absolutely. There's a whole program.
For two reasons. One, it's Uncle Sam with a bunch of immigrants. And two,
Yeah.
a lot of police officers ate there.
Yeah. That is true. So 2 little mom and pop places they busted. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, but even so, you're like, again, you're only dealing with the very base.
Yeah, the low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it's
It's
sort
easy
of-
to pick on.
Guys didn't have good enough lawyers.
Guys didn't have good enough lawyers, and that's easy. And everybody loved him. Oh, Tent City, bologna sandwiches, pink underwear. Let's put him back in office because that's about how much attention people pay to these things. Meanwhile, he's
Well,
violating.
he finally
the
got voted
Constitution.
out. That was refreshing.
He did get voted out, which was
In a landslide.
when
by
he
the
was
way.
84 years old.
Yeah, the damage was done.
I mean, the only reason I don't really have an issue with him being pardoned is because I don't see a whole lot of point of putting an 85-year-old man in jail.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, me too.
I see the
I
point.
want to be like Oz on him.
I want to go visit him and throw food at him.
But I don't. But I think from a political point of view, he should
a
have been put in jail
fucking
because
animal.
you have to send the message.
Like
and I
American
think he
History X
deserved.
shower scene.
And it's shocking me. Like, no, this guy deserved to be a message for people. Going, you can't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he deserved that. He did.
He violated the.
Room handle in his hiney.
It's like when they arrested like the 96-year-old Nazis. I mean, yeah, does the guy deserve to go to jail? Yeah, but he's 96 years old.
So what? Put him in jail.
I know. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just
like
saying.
public.
At that point, can't you just put him on a boat and shove him out in the lake or something?
Well, it could be like a Roman bath kind of, or Roman like situation. Like you're the failed leader, and the old days they let them slip their wrist in the tub. Like just slide a 38 across the table. Just go into the room, take care of it. That's
Right.
it. That's your choice.
I do like it.
Just your choice. That's it.
I do like it.
One bullet so he doesn't go out and try and kill everybody. But we're not that progressive. So anyway, flies. What I'm hoping is that there is some true political. I mean, there's been a lot of noise about it because he's being truly on a dividing agenda that has really become more and more apparent, and I think that's a good narrative that's being told with him having to pay the political price for doing this pardoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's even more and more apparent that his agenda is not the agenda of most Americans.
No, he's doubling down on that.
Yeah.
On that base, and then by the way, one quick note: he did hit Danny's car wash as well. Now they suck at washing cars because it's all white people.
Wow.
Thank you, Johnny. That was awesome.
Yeah, right.
Well, they're mostly meth heads, and they
lazy.
rob your cars now.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
take all your change. The dirty
How many
little
change is
fuckers.
gone?
Yeah,
There's
man.
been on Nextdoor.com. There's been so many complaints about how people are getting. Hey, if you take your car to Danny's, make sure you clean it out because they won't take anything that's not stuck to the car.
Yeah.
But
Danny's car wash is fucking criminal. Nice comment.
thank
That's
you, John.
true.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
All right,
You think I don't know. You think we beat this enough? Anybody else got anything to say about the cocksucker today?
Yeah. No.
No.
I mean,
I don't know. I just hope.
he's free. I did hear that he was thinking about going back into politics, and I'm like, he's 85. Can we just roll?
No, either one, Trump or Praro. He what? You know, they said
Trump?
that he might. There was thought that part of the pardon he's going to give him a position too.
Oh, wouldn't that be horrible?
What did you see the guy that Trump is bringing in as he looks like hold on a second, I got to go back to, was it you that said this? When the hell did Boss Hogg become cool? Is that you?
I don't know. Maybe
When did
Sounds
Boss
like
Hogg
something
become uncool?
Yeah, I would say.
It was
I
really the
always-
question.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would never say Boss Hogg was uncool. So let's just get that.
That's a
straight.
good point. But
Yeah.
now Boss Hogg is like the Minister of Defense and the Secretary of Commerce. It might have been one of the guys I worked with that I was with last week. But somebody made that comment about Boss Hogg, and then they showed this guy that Trump is bringing. I can't even remember the damn position.
It's hard to know because he's revolving them so quick, right?
Oh my God!
Well,
it's-
they come in and out so fast.
Yeah.
yeah.
This guy's like, it's something.
Who's
over,
it this week?
It's something over scientific stuff, and the guy's basically like a right wing.
Sure, he's a Rhodes Scholar. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's
written many papers
he
at
looks
MIT.
like an overstuffed ham. Or turkey. He looks a lot like Boss Hogg. I mean, he sees the white hat, and he'd be right there. But
And he wears like a Darwin T-shirt.
sweet.
Yeah. Well, it's. I'm just hoping that this. I mean, the outrage continues, and there's also a line of thought where he's doing this because he wants someone to force him to quit.
Well, you gotta think at this point he just wants to go back to his life.
And
I mean,
Yeah.
he's like,
this was a game.
He's like, just keeps going. Like somebody eventually's got to stop me, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
you almost
you
want to
can't-
hope, like,
yeah.
I wonder how far I can push this.
Yeah,
Like, it's a joke.
like, you can't. That was like it was a thing with South Park. A few years ago when he was just running, that was Mr. Garrison was playing the role of Trump.
Yeah.
and he's like I can't believe they let me get this far. You know, yeah.
So I don't know. We'll
All
see
right.
what happens. I'm pretty sure he's going to get taken down by the money laundering. I think that's going to be the one.
God, like we talked about a few weeks ago.
The collusion, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the money laundering.
Well,
I think
it took
that's
2
gonna
years
stay.
for Watergate. We're not even 6 months. We're barely 8 months into this one, and the scandal, was the investigation was well underway.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to give it at least another 8 months before the indictments start to roll down.
Let's just say I think there's going to be more to talk about in the near future.
There's definitely going to be some indictments. It's just who.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that. So I'm not concerned about the time. These things do take time. These kinds of investigations. The hammer will fall. It's just a matter of who and when, or when and who. There, that's
Yeah,
better.
and just hope somebody hides a suitcase before he gets too upset. And just goes.
Good. I mean, just go. Just run away.
Although he probably forgot the code already. What's the code?
Right.
What's
Yeah.
the code? Somebody tell me the code.
I have the best code.
I got
It's
the
the best code.
It's the most excellent code.
It's your daughter's name.
I have the best words. It's probably.
You're pretty good. You're actually pretty good at that. You're scary.
What they say on the Daily Show? He got fucked by his by one of his kids, but the wrong kid.
That's nice. Yeah. So we'll just get ready for President Pence, I guess.
All right, John. Let us know what else you got on your table.
So let's go into the surreal.
Hey, Chris,
And-
where are you? You should be on this thing by now too. I'm sorry, JT or what is his name? I can remember.
Chris, yeah, our in-house Canadian.
Yeah, our Canadian who was actually at the Trump rally.
Yeah.
who was telling me
Where the
last
fuck
night.
is he?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck.
Put
he
down your Labatt Blue and get
Your
your ass on the
Molson
phone so you
yeah.
can hear the Canadian perspective.
Let's
Or
hear
stop
it.
watching preseason hockey or whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
Actually, he's way into the WNBA.
Oh,
that's
well,
his sport.
That is disturbingly
Awkward females
Disturbing.
that are trying to play basketball. And I apologize to ladies out there. I love female athletes. I just think that the WNBA is
Too
full
late,
of
you
women
misogynistic
that look
pig.
like they just haven't grown into their bodies yet. They're just it's awkward. They can't shoot free throws. It's just hard to watch that basketball. I'm sorry.
It's not great. I have to admit it. It's not great.
They're great at a lot of sports, for sure. And I'm all for women.
Listen to this guy.
But
I'm sure there's fine people who are black.
that's what it kind of sound like, don't I? But I mean, like they're great soccer players, but God, when they play babasketball, it's just hard to.
Oh my God.
My buddy Rudder went nuts because he bet some money on him, and it turned out they couldn't fucking shoot free throws. He was not aware of that. He ended up losing his ass on these bets because he goes, "These are fucking white girls that can't shoot free throws. What
Is
the
that
hell?
true?
If
I
you
didn't
can't
know that.
stereotype white girls. Who can you stereotype?"
I didn't realize they were all bad at shooting free throws. That's how little I watched it.
I've watched it very little. Some of them are fantastic athletes, but there's a lot of really awkward women in WNBA.
All right, let's stop the misogyny and let's move on, James.
I got in trouble for the misogyny too.
All right, so it's probably going to be our last topic for the evening because really that's about all I got. And it's a bit more on the surreal side. So
I'm getting texts over there.
There was, you guys have been to the Alien movies? Who watches the Alien movies?
I've seen some Alien movies.
You haven't seen any of the Alien movies, Jim?
What?
I haven't seen any since the first couple, no.
So you saw the first two?
Yeah, I saw the original one with...
with Sigourney Weaver,
and,
right? Hey, you can come over here. We have an in-house guest helping us out with communications.
Yeah. There we go.
So anyway, they came out with the latest installment. So, and I don't know if you know anything about the previous one. So the previous one was Prometheus, and that one didn't do very well. And there was some leaps of logic in that movie. Well, this one was like epic science fiction leap of logics. And the only reason I'm bringing it up because this is just, we had nothing else in the world of science. So that's pretty much what we're going here. But, the idea, like, what I like with my science fiction, I like some sprinkling reality. Like, you don't go... So my main problem with this movie is they go to a planet they've never been to before. Right. And they're not wearing any kind of spacesuits. They're just in, like, fucking khakis and in hats.
They're just hanging out?
Yeah.
They're in a foreign planet and they're in khakis and fucking hiking boots and expect nothing bad to happen.
Like underwritten by REI?
Yeah, like, are you fucking... Exactly.
Couldn't run by an REI.
You got there's some solid carbiners there when you're dealing with the aliens there, fuckheads. I mean, and so, of course, one of the guys inhales something, right? He steps on a spore or whatever and it shoots some fucking shit in his face. Right, and then the movie begins with the alien.
Surprise.
Yeah, like, oh, shocker. And this is like Ridley Scott, which point was a pretty well-respected director and writer, too, of science fiction. But it just became so just basic and disappointing. Like, I need a little bit, that's what I want, a little bit more of I like a little bit of real science in my sci-fi, right?
What's that mix with science fiction believable?
Yeah,
well, you want to be convinced this is all possible.
Right?
That's why Star Trek was so brilliant because, how much stuff in Star Trek did we remember the communicator when you flip the phone open? And,
right.
And then literally, with push to talk on Nextel, we had the same exact goddamn thing in our hand.
I hated my Nextel, by the way, because I'd reject a phone call, but then they'd be like, beep, beep, Eric, pick up. You're like, no, man, that's why I rejected you.
Oh, so did they call you and then they then they next tell you?
It was it's like a cell phone / like two-way radio.
Yeah.
Obnoxious.
Yeah,
all the two-way radio.
I
I could be in San Diego and I could chirp somebody in New York and have an instant conversation.
You could also call them and they could reject you.
Yeah, I know, but
so Eric did
but there's
most of us who have these devices have them so that we can communicate, not get rejected.
I'm busy.
Yeah. So,
he's got a social agenda.
I think part of it is because I was usually the lead on all my projects. I was was a technical director before I started.
He's the PM,
right?
Dude.
I'm thinking of 6 o'clock in the Sunday morning when it's like, no, I'm not taking your call. Beep beep.
No, I'm the asshole that would do that.
Base to Eric. Go away.
Go away. Fuck you.
Where's the button that says "fuck yourself"?
But luckily for most of the guys that I work with are also good friends, kind of like how we were sitting around here. So I could like, hey fucker, I know you can hear me. Answer the phone.
And that was the truth too, because they could hear you.
Yeah.
Everyone in the house could hear you.
Well,
You're like covering like earmuffs on your kids, like my boss talking to me right now.
yeah, that's funny.
I could kick the crap out of my next cell phone and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, they had that hard rubber coating.
I had a great moment out here when Alex, who works with us, was he was sitting there on his phone and he was texting and he was standing by my pool and he went to push the button and managed to squish it out of his hand. Bloop, bloop. And so it goes down. And if you remember, they were like silver with a blue light that would like a disco light that would blink. And he's sitting there at the edge of the pool because he won't jump in and get it, watching the blue light go. Woo, 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 boop.
Yeah, done.
It's done. He goes, "You think we can save it?"
Well, you could definitely get it out of the pool, but whether it's going to work
We can
ever
fish it
again.
out, but I think that the slow dying blue light.
Can
pretty
I
much,
put that in a bag of rice?
Yeah, is that going to help it out? Not yet. Maybe in 10 years you could do that because the semi went out. Not that one, man. It was awesome. The best part was seeing him like so dejected, standing on the edge of the pool watching his phone.
Right?
But I love my BlackBerry. The Crackberry, back when it first kicked off.
Yep, I know someone who still rocks a BlackBerry. I could
miss-
not
Wow.
believe it when I saw it.
When it comes to texting, I miss my BlackBerry a ton because my fingers, I could feel the buttons with my
Oh,
fingers.
I could rock out full on emails with my BlackBerry.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when I try to do like the texting with my phone.
Yeah.
No, it's like I just got a stroke. It's just like some weird like
Why don't you
disjointed
flip-
like
you can't-
garble.
Right.
You
well,
can't flip it?
My
You can't
thumbs
flip
are the
it?
size
Well,
of
you can flip it, right?
I
But you
flip
don't.
it.
You don't
You
like.
can do the-
You can't.
It's-
It doesn't have a flip-up keyboard.
No,
You're
you
still
can't
hitting
feel
the
the
screen.
yeah,
so
you
there's
can't
no,
feel
like,
the finger.
There's
You
no
have to-
physical
yeah.
click.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you have like these sausages for thumbs, you're
No, the BlackBerry, like the Pearl with the little roll ball.
oh yeah.
Oh, money.
They like the
That
pearl.
was the
Yeah.
problem. And they
Oh, my-
almost went under. I think they're still in business, but they almost
Yeah, I
went
think
under.
like who uses RIM software anymore, right?
I don't know anybody.
Right. Well, I know one person, and that's like she can't even get like all the apps. Like I have like Shazam. She's like, yeah, no, that isn't on my BlackBerry. I'm like, yeah,
Who uses the BlackBerry?
Like there's
one person
friend.
I know.
There's
Gotcha.
one friend.
Gotcha.
But it used to
My
be
one friend.
everybody.
Code word. Done. Fair enough.
But it did fuck with me because the electromagnetic field on a BlackBerry is like 10 times stronger than any
Fuck with the pacemaker or what?
It
Really?
fucks with microphones. It would
Fucks
fuck
with his pacemaker.
So you're sitting there like some guy would be on stage and all of a sudden you hear it was his phone ringing. He's like, "Oh, I have it on silent." It doesn't matter, dude. It's still getting the signal and it's like vibrating and it's like going to the and happened all the time. So now we get these CEOs going on stage and the first thing you want to do is strip off their BlackBerry. You'd think they were asking for a fucking kidney. Like no, I can't put that on the table. No, you need to put it down on the table because it fucks with the sound system. No, I'll just put it in them constantly. Doctors. I had one dude even take a call on stage. I've never seen this before. He's got an audience of about 200 people. His fucking phone rings. Hang on, I got to take this. I'm sitting there at the audience. Seriously?
That's America.
Are you going to take a
Ballin'.
phone? That's a baller, man.
Wow.
Who the hell are you? These 200 people have literally stopped their lives to listen to what you have to say, and you're going to stop
And by the way, fuck all you people.
and say, no, I prefer 2%. Yeah. And can you get some Gouda while you're there? And cilantro. Cilantro to, yeah. Well, what time is Bob coming over? I mean, it's literally, it wasn't even like it was like a medical call or something. He was talking about dinner with his fucking family on
Wow.
He's
stage.
supposed to like hang up. It's like it's benign.
It's benign. He'll be fine. You fucking asshole.
Sneak a tube down his throat and I'll be there in 4 or 5 hours.
Right? Don't pull the plug just yet.
All right, so yeah, that's we can hit a little sports. Have you watched any preseason? You've talked about the Bears at all? Looked at the Bears at all?
I'm still football free in my life. I have not looked at any football.
I've just been, they've been trying to drum up the fucking quarterback controversy. It's pretty pathetic.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think
No,
Glennon's
it's-
going to start, and
Yeah.
that they're going to keep Trubisky, let him train for a year.
They should. It makes
which
no
they
sense
should.
to do other
We
things.
have
They're not
no
gonna-
shot. I mean, have you seen the
They keep
power rankings and everything?
their defense looks so good.
Well,
Like,
great.
Come on.
Well, let
Come
them.
on.
Well, then let them develop for a year.
Yeah.
we're going to lose our first 7 games. I think we decided that. A
Their,
couple weeks
their
ago.
schedule is brutal.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's so fuck it. It's a goddamn rebuild.
a wash.
We are the Philadelphia Phillies of the National Football League.
Let's not go that far. That seems a little rough.
Okay, then who?
Because the Phillies are always rebuilding, as I'm saying. I can't. They
Don't they have like a really goofy mascot?
yeah, it's the Philly,
Yeah, the Philly fanatic.
the
Yeah.
fanatic. It's the Green Man.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
my
we're-
that's
yeah,
my
it's-
sports knowledge
It's
right
the-
there.
From
So
what
we're
you
the
call it.
Detroit Lions of the National Football League.
Ooh, that's not right.
That's not right. But my point is,
I, know,
like,
I tell you what, I know a
leave
good
Trubisky
friend of
on the
mine
bench.
from work. He's a born and bred Detroit guy, and they've suffered just as bad as we have.
oh no,
They're-
they suffer hard.
yeah.
They're a nightmare. Their franchise is bad. Well, they're going to sign Stafford to like $25 million contract.
Thought they already did give him a
Did-
big contract.
did they give
I
it
thought
to
he.
him?
I mean, he's not. I'm pretty sure he's top 5 paid quarterback.
I don't know. Like I said, I have not been invested in football yet. I'm still watching my baseball. We lost to
I always have a title here. It still says Cubs still suck.
Cubs still suck. Cubs are still 2.5 games in first place, so we're maintaining our suckiness. But
They are.
and I told you that the kids at the Asian market were afraid of the Cubs in the
Good
playoffs.
Lord.
Eric, you a
That's
baseball fan?
I am.
Yeah, who's your
Eric
team?
goes to games.
Diamondbacks.
Como se dice why?
I don't know. I like the local
He's
kids.
a local boy.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
fair
not
enough.
really like knowledgeable in sports. I just go to where the free tickets take me.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate
So,
that.
It's still a nice place to see a ball game, in my opinion.
And I'm
Actually, I was curious who won the last game's night or last night's game.
Let's find out.
last night's Arizona Diamondback game or
I
the
think
Cubs game?
They won today. The Diamondbacks definitely won
Diamondbacks.
today.
Because if you look up a Cubs game, I prefer you look up yesterday's game. Or we scored.
Did you already know
17
they
runs.
lost today or something already?
Yeah, we lost 6-3.
Ooh.
We lost actually 2 out of 3 to the Philadelphia Phillies. That's why I kind of led with that.
Oh,
hoping you would be aware of that. We lost to the worst team in baseball, 2 out of 3.
Well, I hadn't been paying attention much this week to baseball.
I just recently beginning the baseball.
Yeah, baseball. Baseball is an excellent sport to
Ooh,
watch. But you have
Diamondbacks
to
big
watch it.
today. 11-0 they won.
Good job,
Nice.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're fighting for that wild card spot. So
Their record if it was is epically better
think
than
they're,
the Cubs,
uh,
by the way. Just so we know where we stand.
It's like a chill sport. I feel like I could go there and just like hang out, have a couple of drinks, just relax.
Yeah, it's nice
well, if you
going
really
there.
like anything baseball, my recommendation to folks is go to all because down in Arizona we have all these off leagues that they do, like with the winter leagues, whatever. They do like a 20-game kind of tournament sort of thing, where a lot of the younger players are out there to kind of just get some experience and get evaluated and whatever. Super cheap to get tickets. They play them. We got all obviously because we do spring training, we have all these baseball parks, so they have all of these little mini leagues that go on all during the off season. And you can get cheap tickets. You can sit right up front and watch good baseball, but exciting baseball because one kid might be 17 years out of high school, one guy might be 30 trying to make it back into the pros, and they're just going at it. And they got 20 games to prove themselves. It beats the hell. I mean, when I went to the Cubs game, I paid $350 for the 2 tickets.
Damn, that game where I met you at?
Yeah.
Damn,
That's
you
why I
got
didn't want.
took, man. Wow.
Well, that's why I didn't want to go down to the fucking bar with you and hang out under. I mean, I paid $300 for these tickets. I want to sit in these seats. I mean, you wouldn't let me.
You didn't say that. You didn't say it.
I'm pretty much. I said exactly that. You just ignored all that.
So
Then I met your little friend. He was very entertaining.
that's Brian.
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 So I went with Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Brian.
That guy was.
Julia.
He's on 11 the whole time, and the whole lady with the flag thing.
He is on 11 the whole time.
Yeah,
For sure.
His stories were awesome, which is why I never went back to my seats because we were getting our asses kicked. So I'm like, well, I may as well watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's the one that actually got me inspired to enjoy baseball. Brian.
It's a great sport, and the key to loving it is watching enough games to know who all the players are. Because that's one time it gets interesting. When you know every guy coming up and every pitcher coming in, then it's fun to watch. Otherwise, yeah, I can't watch anybody else's
Let's
team play.
experience at the game too. Right? I think there's a lot
Well,
of
definitely.
The
The
game's an
experience
ex-
at the game. So I'm not
game's an
watching baseball
experience.
when I'm not at the
yeah.
game.
It's because Brian's got season tickets, so he'll take Eric, he'll take me, he'll take whoever,
Right.
And he's
Yeah,
as
but
see,
you got to admit that Brian's half the entertainment when you guys go to the game.
he's got the whole place mapped. That's the thing about it.
He's
right?
he's like maybe like 15% of it.
Yeah, he's got the whole place mapped, so you have a whole agenda when you
You're
get
going
there.
15%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went half. Okay, we'll meet at 20. How about that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. But, my point is, if you love baseball so much, why do you always want to go to the home plate bar and hang out down there? Well,
It's
you
way
can't
better
see-
to watch.
No,
the
I
game
definitely
there.
don't like the home plate bar.
Me either.
No, if I'm there, I want to be out there with the flag
I was
lady
close
and all
enough.
that.
I could hear the first base guys. I could hear the Cubs dugout guys jawing with each other a little bit. I could hear the home plate umpire making calls. That's how close.
Why don't you invite us over there then? Jeez.
I did.
Yeah, I like the tickets
I
where you're
did,
like
and
you're
you
above
didn't show
above the dugout of the opposing team.
Yeah, I like
So you can make like eye contact and talk shit while they're walking back.
Yeah. I was the whole opposing team was the Cubs, so
Yeah, well, it's kind of complicated there.
yeah. Well, no, just love, love.
I hate the Cubs. What?
I know
Sorry.
you do. Yeah. That's because you're from the South Side, which nobody cares about.
That's not true.
Somebody asked me the other week, like, how is Chicago divided? I mean, it's divided right down the middle.
Yeah.
Cool people to the north, and fucking douchebag assholes to the south,
Wow.
which happen to be half.
Wow, what an elitist jackass you are.
Okay.
It's called blue collar people in the South.
You can't just relabel
Todd, are
an
you from
asshole
the north
blue
or south?
collar and call
I'm
it
from the
good.
south
They're just
side.
Assholes are
South
assholes.
burbs.
Yeah. He's not even from the city. And he talks like he's from Chicago. I was born and raised. Actually,
Hey.
I was born in Madison, Wisconsin.
Whatever.
But
I grew up in
moved
the
there when I was
Heights.
6 months old.
I grew up in Chicago Heights, Park Forest. It was rough hood.
I mean, it's got the word Chicago in its name.
There you have it.
Doesn't count.
I worked in the city, so suck a fart.
It's like a fart. You're a 708er. That's the best.
It's a good point. I was. I'll take that. So I think that's
not a
enough
bad
on
joke.
sports. And yeah,
We got some signs to talk about?
We did. We talked about our pseudoscience. I didn't have any good articles. So
I thought we were talking about aliens, right? Was that the
we were
science
talking
segment?
about
We didn't talk about aliens. That's good.
We did, in the scale of unbelievability.
Hey, Johnston, you're still on there, so give me something. Give me something to talk
I
about.
didn't really do any Science Today research like I normally do, so
What are the
everybody's going to
comments?
just have to wait till next week.
I'm going to have to yell at Chris. He texted me from the TAV. He decided, instead of listening to our show, he went to the TAV. And he texted me that was what I thought was him chiming in.
Is that our Canadian friend?
That's
Yeah.
our Canadian friend, yeah. The one who was at the goddamn...
Yeah.
Would have been perfect for the show, but he's
Totally
too-
unique perspective, I feel.
Yeah, I think his draw was much more to the bar than to us.
Fair enough.
So
He's Canadian.
he is Canadian, and he loves the bar late at night when the women lose their inhibitions.
Right? Yeah, like 12:30 on.
Yeah. He loves to do the karaoke thing. He's the rock lobster king.
Wow.
I was thinking about calling him the Rock because he's physically anything but the Rock. So that kind of funny.
It's not funny, Jim.
No,
I think we just call him
dad joke.
Lobster?
the resident Canadian.
Call him the lobster. Call him the Canadian.
the Canadian.
Well, you know, the Canadian is what you call black people when you want to be nice. Well, there's a bunch of Canadians over there.
That's Jesus H. Christ, my friend.
That's called racism in America. I'm sorry, but
I was actually going to call the Canadian, but you know, where's your head at? Jesus.
my head's back in my history. I'm just saying.
All right, let's wrap up.
We're gonna wrap
We're
up.
rambling. We're rambling. That's it. Cut it. So here we're going to put on a little bit more KJZZ.
A little more KJZZ, which will probably get us.
So,
busted.
by the way, I just want you
It's like
to
Blaze
just
Lantana
suck
or something,
the fart-
like a little
this
jazz?
is Blues Night.
Oh, okay.
Blues Night
So we can
on
do the
Sundays.
blues. If we do more than like 30 seconds of it, we get busted by YouTube. So we got to fade it out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Damn It Jim Show. I am Damn It Jim. Survived today. This is my buddy Sideshow Todd. This is Eric, nicknameless guest in studio.
Eric from around the way.
Eric Ferrano,
Best known as guest.
best known as guest. He'll be
Eric
back
the
on.
guest. Eric
Chris
the
will be
guest.
back on.
There he is. Eric the guest. So Eric the Red. Get it? There.
Oh, John. Oh, you know what? John Johnson's like talking about the shitty fight last night. We haven't done that yet. You want to talk about that?
No, I didn't watch it.
That's right. I'm the only one. Yeah.
All right,
The
I
fight
guess
was
we're not
It
shitty.
came out how everyone expected it,
It's like the
right?
show that doesn't die.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, was anyone surprised?
no. It was.
Like, I don't know about anything about boxing, and even I wasn't surprised.
No, it was very, very pedestrian. The fight.
Yeah.
I was a little bit.
They both made $100 million.
The last couple
Well,
of like
actually-
heavyweight fights I've watched have been really disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I want like ears bitten off. You know, like
Those years are long, guys. Actually, the last heavyweight fight I saw it, replayed. That was Klitschko versus Wilder, or whatever his name was, the South African kid. And that was actually a really good heavyweight fight. They both went down once, and Klitschko is just old. He's 40-3. He can't be fighting heavyweight at 40-3, even though he's still a specimen at 43. You just can't take the shots anymore.
no that
Right.
that little thing that makes you
Yeah.
get
And
knocked out gets very, very sensitive.
Yeah, and the kid was, he was a good boxer, So I think the heavyweight division started, and there's a couple other guys that are pretty good. But, it's not worth me watching it still, because all the other, what I don't like about professional boxing, there's so many belts, there's so many weight classes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just ridiculous.
It's too much.
Yeah, who am I watching?
Yeah.
Yep,
I hear you. And the fight last night, I think, was a spectacle and a joke. Mayweather clearly had, he owned the entire time. I just wish it would have been like someone like Marvin Hagler who would have knocked Connor's fucking head into the fifth row in the first round and been done with it.
Yeah, do you feel like he held back?
I feel, he didn't even punch for the first 3 rounds.
That's what I read, yeah.
I mean, he barely threw a punch. And then,
He let the
in the
kid punch
9th round, when
himself
they
out.
finally stopped the fight, he landed like 8-9 shots in a row. I mean, he was hitting him at will. At one point, he put his arm on his shoulder, pulled him down, and was punching him in the side of the head.
I mean,
just to show how easy it was for him to hit him.
I mean, do you think there's like
And
some
Connor-
unwritten law where he's like, you're so shitty, I'm just not gonna whip your ass? Or like, I mean, why do you think it didn't get to that level?
Meriwether was never
where they
really
just kept on like,
powerful guy. He's never been known as a big,
yeah, but
big
he held
puncher.
back. I mean, he doesn't
Yeah.
have to be powerful, but the fact that he held back, I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't you want to like
I think him
always
and-
perform your best?
I think McGregor and him were kind of buddies. Listen, they were sitting there having these press conferences.
Well, I think that how they react in the press conference and how they are in real life may not always be the same.
Well, I'll tell you what, they were sharing the same plane flying from press conference to press conference. That tells you right there they weren't.
Yeah, exactly,
That
right?
never happens with real, fighters.
Yeah.
You don't put them on the same plane. They're sharing the same plane. So I think this whole thing was Mayweather said, listen, man, you can make $100 million. I'll make $200 million. We're going to get fucking rich. So let's just put on a show. I won't embarrass you in the ring, but there's no way I'm going to let you win. And he's like, that's fine. That's cool. I'll support my family, and I think the whole thing was a setup.
I just can't believe people buy
That's
into
a really
that.
good
Though,
angle.
you know, I think he's probably pretty close to it though.
They sold
you know,
the place out.
well, that's the thing. If the loser won $0, they'd be fighting for a lot more. But you don't.
Yeah.
No one walked away from their loser.
No.
He won before he stepped in the ring. I mean,
I will go in there and get my ass kicked and probably get hospitalized for $100 million.
Indeed.
Yeah.
As long as they said you could walk and, like you'll have the same mental capabilities, I'd do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
I'd say, can I take care of my family? Yeah, that'd be fine. So put me in there.
Floyd's really never knocked anyone out, so I'll take that bet.
Yeah.
He's never really fucked somebody up.
Yeah, even my dogs were pissed.
Yeah.
$100 for that fight? You got to be fucking
Yeah.
All right, kids. We're going back once more to the music.
All right.
We wanted to hold on. Mayweather always puts in a round or two to feel out the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but this is McGregor, Johnny. This is McGregor. He didn't need to feel him out. He knew within 30 seconds what this kid could do.
Well, not only at round
He's
3,
so
he could
far-
have turned it up, right?
He was so far ahead of him. I just think he let him. I think he let him hang around for a while just so he didn't embarrass him. And that's all that came down to. All right, boys. This has been the Damn It Jim show.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, audience. Thank
night.
you, everybody. Even those of you who didn't tune in live, we'll be on podcasts. We'll be on Podbean. We're going to be on iTunes. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always look for me on DammitJim podcast on Skype. That way you can call in and make a few comments. DammitJim podcast at Gmail if you want to send me some emails and give some topics for us to discuss. Otherwise, we'll be back next Sunday for another episode of the greatest podcast
And
in
don't
the
forget-
history of.
That's true. And don't forget, support local radio. Listen
And
to
support.
Blues. Low down
Yeah.
Blues. Sunday nights, KJGZ.
Yeah,
Bye.
KGZ. Okay, and we are out. See, now I do this every week where I say "and we are out," but then I don't have the little screen up where I can actually turn off the stream. So all of this is going live.